Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain TXP and today is the 18th of April 2023 and unfortunately, the price of Bitcoin has fallen well below the $30,000 mark. So we'll very briefly touch base on what is going on in Bitcoin and why the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum and the global cryptocurrency market is on a decline. Now listen guys, in the month of June, there is a massive event going on and it is very possible that the US might be defaulting on its debt. And if that thing happens, it's going to have absolutely catastrophic impact, not just on the financial sector, but also on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So in today's episode, we'll very briefly talk about what is going on, and looks like a Republican House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, has actually denounced the US debt ceiling time bomb, and looks like they're on the verge of increasing the debt ceiling. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that, and what kind of an impact will that have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And a few weeks ago, guys, we did talk about Balaji Srinivasan, the former CTO of Coinbase, and he was hedging that the price of Bitcoin will touch $1 million per Bitcoin. That is because of quite a lot of things: the banking collapse, the US debt ceiling, the geopolitical situations, and quite a lot of others. So we'll definitely go ahead and explore all that thing in today's episode. Now regarding US, the Security Exchange Commission has also charged Bittrex and its CEO. So we'll go ahead and explore what that news is all about. And we also have some update regarding Ripple, and Ripple has another product called as MoneyTap, and looks like they're definitely making massive headways, particularly in Japan, and 3 banks have partnered with them, that is Yamaguchi Bank, Momiji Bank, and Kitakyushu Bank. So we'll definitely go ahead and explore that, and I'm not sure once central bank digital currency kicks in, what kind of an impact will it have on the mobile app. So definitely interesting news, and guys, like we do in every Crypto and Coffee a Day podcast, we'll definitely be looking at 2 news regarding Dubai, UAE and Middle East. And the first news is about Abu Dhabi. That is, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank becomes the first Islamic bank to go live on KYC blockchain platform. And look guys, when I try to do more research, I do have this feeling that this is a centralized blockchain. And me personally, I'm not a fan of centralized blockchain because ideally, everything a centralized blockchain or permission blockchain can do can be replicated on a simple software. So I'll go ahead and give in my thoughts and opinions on that. Now the second news is to do regarding Metaverse, and I have covered this in my Metaverse Everything podcast. And this news has to do with Landvault, and they are partnering with Super League Gaming. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it impacts Metaverse. So quite a lot to cover in today's episode. So let's get started with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee at 8, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and Metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee at 8 has something for you. Our expert host will provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us, from the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies. We'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee at 8. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee at 8, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the Metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee a Day, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the Metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee at 8 aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE and Middle East region. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Firstly guys, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Space Podcast. So check out the Race Space Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Space Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs, and these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now unfortunately, since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.42%, and the global cryptocurrency market stands at $1.24 trillion. Now the total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is $47.40 billion. And listen to this guys, even at $47.40 billion, it is up by 31.79%. So whenever you're listening to any cryptocurrency price influencer stating that we are heading towards a bullish market, I would definitely disagree, because looks like we are still in the bearish market, and the volume of DeFi is once again ridiculously low at $4.78 billion. And what is really crazy guys is despite the volume being low, DeFi is accounting for 10.07% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. But listen guys, if you want to identify when cryptocurrency is 100% mainstream, the key metric to look at is DeFi. Once cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols do get mainstream, the volume on DeFi should ideally account for 50 to maybe 60% of the total cryptocurrency market volume. Now when that thing happens, I really am not sure. And the 24-hour trading volume ideally should be in hundreds of billions of dollars, ridiculously low at $4.78 billion. The total value locked is still about the $50 billion mark, and unfortunately this is only because of the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade, and Lido's dominance has shot up to 24.07%, and so far as its total value locked is concerned, it is at $12.68 billion, followed by MakerDAO at $7.99 billion, Aave at $5.88 billion, and Core Finance at $4.78 billion, and finally Uniswap at $4.36 billion. Now guys, there is some update regarding Solana. What happened yesterday is Grayscale, they have a Solana Trust, and they did actually debut Solana Trust to retail customers. Now mind you guys, Grayscale Investments did actually launch Grayscale Solana Trust way back in November of 2021, but this time they have made it available for retail users as well. Now what is surprising is that Because of that news, Solana's price actually dropped, and it dropped by 4.4%. Ideally, what happens is whenever there is such news, the price of any protocols do actually tend to pump up. So it looks like Solana is having a terrible year in 2023. Now let's look at the volume of stable coins. And once again, guys, it's ridiculously low at $42.78 billion. And in yesterday's podcast, guys, I did talk about some bill that is being drafted so far stablecoins is concerned. Now, stablecoin is still accounting for 90.13% of the total crypto market, 24-hour volume, and something which I did mention earlier. In order to identify if cryptocurrency is mainstream, apart from the volume of DeFi being high, the volume of stablecoins should be ridiculously low. The volume of stablecoins should be probably in one digit or maybe in the 15 to 20% mark. But as of today, 18th of April, stablecoins is accounting for 90.13% and the volume is ridiculously low as well. And Tether USDT's 24-hour trading volume is $32.83 billion, followed by Circle USDC at $4.60 billion. And guys, Binance BUSD is doing absolutely terrible. Now, I do remember Binance BUSD at one point of time in CoinMarketCap was somewhere number 7, and I'm looking at it right now. Binance BUSD has gone down to well below the 15 in the top cryptocurrency protocols. Now, so far as the 24-hour trading volume is concerned, it is at $3.40 billion, and the market cap is completely devastated at $6.6 billion. Now, guys, let's look at the market share. 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, Ethereum's dominance is definitely pumping up, and it is at 19.80%, and Bitcoin's dominance is 45.52%. But if you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, it has also gone down at $571 billion, and Ethereum's market cap is at $248 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume, guys, both for Bitcoin and Ethereum is not looking good. Bitcoin is only at $17.9 billion. It just might cross the $18 billion mark in just a few hours, and Ethereum is at $9.73 billion. Now, in today's episode, guys, I'm going to very briefly look at the market cap of smart contracting platforms and Web3 protocols. Now, so far as smart contracting platform is concerned, Ethereum's market cap is $248 billion, whereas Binance BNB's market cap is $53.17 billion. Now listen, guys, are you individually or your company using any smart contracts on Binance BNB? If you do, mention them in the comments below. Now, Cardano is definitely rising up, and it is at $15.17 billion. Now, so far as Web3 protocols is concerned, Chainlink's market cap is $4.24 billion. And just some fun fact, guys, Chainlink's creator, that is Sergey Nazarov, people often call him that he might be Satoshi Nakamoto, but if you look at his age, it just absolutely does not make sense, because he literally would have to be 12 or 14 years old in order to create Bitcoin. But nonetheless, the fun fact is, if you go to your domain name and type in smartcontracts.com, it automatically takes you to Chainlink's website. And the fun fact is, Sergey Nazarov did actually register the domain name smartcontracts.com 2 years before Bitcoin was launched. So somewhere between 2006 or 7 is when he registered the domain name. I thought I'll just share it for some fun bit of information. Now, Filecoin is number 2nd at $2.56 billion, and finally the Graph at $1.50 billion. And guys, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, it has gone well below the $30,000 mark, and as of today, it is $29,507. And look, guys, one thing which I very specifically mentioned in my Crypto and Coffee Day podcast on Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of the cryptocurrency podcasters, a lot of the so-called price influencers were predicting that the price of Bitcoin will be pumping up to the moon. And I very specifically mentioned, make sure that you don't pay attention to what they are saying so far as price-related information is concerned, because a lot of them, they have their own vested interest. And how it works is pretty simple. The supply of Bitcoin is fixed because there is no central entity involved, and authorities cannot go after anyone. What anyone can do is they can artificially create the demand for it, and by doing that, you and me tend to buy Bitcoin, and in doing that, cryptocurrency price influencers, multi-millionaires and billionaires, their existing net worth in Bitcoin increases. So you definitely need to keep that in mind. Now, since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.74%. Since the last 7 days, it is down by 0.38%. And later on, guys, we'll also discuss Balaji Srinivasan's bet on the price of Bitcoin crossing $1 million. It is extremely unlikely. Now, Ethereum is at $2,080. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.21%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 9.16%, and this is only because of the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade. Binance Coin is surprisingly staying steady at $340, and since the last 24 hours, it is down by 2.55%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 8.05%. And look, guys, a massive event that is going to take place later on this year, and somewhere between May and June, is the US debt ceiling. Now, what I'd really recommend you to do is, before understanding what the US debt ceiling is, go to YouTube, and Ray Dalio, over a decade ago, has put up, if not one of the most useful and important video of all time, and the video is called as How the Economic Machine Works. It is roughly around 30 minutes or so. I literally might have watched it more than 10 times. Before understanding what the US debt ceiling is, I would strongly recommend you to go ahead and watch that, because it does give you the importance and the meaning of having a debt. Now, to keep it short and sweet simple, US debt ceiling is on the verge of crossing the $31 trillion mark, and if US defaults for the very first time somewhere between May and June, it's going to have an absolutely catastrophic impact. And what happened is that Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did actually denounce US debt as a time bomb in a major New York City speech. So what I'd recommend you do is go to Al Jazeera, and they have given detailed information on what Kevin McCarthy is saying. Now listen, guys, if you're a hardcore Republican, I'm pretty much sure you're not a massive fan of Kevin McCarthy, because it looks like they are bending down towards the demand of left-leaning administration. Now what is really shocking and surprising is that he did actually pledge on Monday to pass legislation to raise the nation's debt ceiling on one condition of capping future federal spending at 1%. Now this actually might not be a terrible idea, so it's kind of like the best of the worst ideas. However, the White House has strongly criticized the announcement, and Biden and White House officials have called on Congress to approve a debt ceiling increase without any conditions. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, make sure you watch the Ray Dalio video first, then listen to the speech that Kevin McCarthy has given. Now let me try to give out some more information on what is going on so far as the US debt ceiling is concerned. Now listen, guys, the US debt ceiling is a legal limit on the amount of money that the government can borrow to pay its bill. Now if Congress does not raise the debt ceiling, the government could default on its financial obligations, which would have severe consequences for the US economy and, more importantly, on the global financial markets as well. And House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did actually pledge that his party, which holds a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, will vote to raise the debt ceiling, but with certain conditions. And guys, Republicans are calling for future spending increases to be capped at 1% and for federal spending to be rolled back to fiscal 2022 levels. They are also hoping to cut federal spendings for social safety net programs for poorer Americans. Now listen, guys, the extreme left-leaning media will be portraying a completely negative and fake news narrative regarding them, and the White House has criticized the Republicans' proposal, arguing that it breaks with the politically bipartisan norm of approving a debt ceiling increase without conditions. Now, Joe Biden and his administrations have called on Congress to approve a debt ceiling increase without conditions, as it has often been done in the past, including during Republican administrations. A default on the government's financial obligations would be US first and could roil the world economy, plunge stock values, and force widespread layoffs. And this, guys, will be absolutely catastrophic. And this is exactly what Balaji Srinivasan is betting against. Now, banking industry has completely collapsed, and if the US debt ceilings were not to be increased, it just means that we would be moving towards the world of hyperbitcoinization. And look, guys, one thing which I've often said, hyperbitcoinization may sound good, which means you are talking directly in Bitcoin and you're focusing on de-dollarization, but you need to understand, when you talk about Bitcoin, over 90% of its supply are already in the hands of multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires, celebrities and influencers. The last thing you would want is for hyperbitcoinization. It would just mean that the filthy rich get even richer, and ordinary people like you and me will have no access to Bitcoin. Now listen, guys, I do have few suggestions. Now these are just random thoughts. One suggestion is to have a newer version of Bitcoin. So I'm talking about a fork of Bitcoin. And what you can do is, in the new Bitcoin, we need to go ahead and increase the supply of Bitcoin. Let's say instead of having a 21 million cap, we can maybe increase it to maybe 210 million or maybe 2 billion. I really am not sure what the amount is. You can also have smart contracting features, and that is possible because of Taproot and Store signature. And listen, guys, if the new version of Bitcoin is released, it means that the new Bitcoin value will be ridiculously low, and you need to think of it at a macro level that can actually be extremely competitive to the US dollar, and in that way, a lot of the funds are not accumulated among multi-billionaires, celebrities, and influencers. So in case if you want to find out more information, go to my website blockchaindxb.com, and there is a section which talks about hashtag BTC World Reserve, and if you do want to contribute any thoughts or comments on that, mention them in the comments below, or drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And Peter Schiff, who's one of the detractors of Bitcoin and a massive advocate of gold, he has also put up an excellent blog on his website called as Joe Biden is mucking up the inflation fight. So read through that article, and if you're a gold advocate, he has another article which states that Q1 gold demand in China its highest level since 2019. And in that article, he has also mentioned that China ranks as the world's biggest gold market. Now listen guys, if you're on the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space, you definitely not like what Peter Schiff is saying, but I often listen to his podcast, and whether you like it or not, his content is absolutely brilliant. Now granted, he's a massive advocate of gold, and he often bashes Bitcoin, but some of the points that he's saying does make a lot of sense. So read through the article and let me know what your thoughts are. Now guys, let's discuss some news regarding Ripple, and this is to do with Japan. And SBI, the remittance-focused arm of Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings, has adopted support of its mobile money tap application to 3 local banks, including Yamaguchi Bank, Momiji Bank, and Kitakyushu Bank. Now the official news is in Japanese, but Cointelegraph has done a brilliant job in giving translation for it. So let me try to give out some bits of information from Cointelegraph. Now MoneyTap, guys, is a mobile payment application that was launched in October of 2018 in Japan by SBI Holdings, and this was done in partnership with Ripple, which claimed to be a blockchain-based payment solution provider. They are not using blockchain in any sense, and what you need to understand is that the application is designed to facilitate instant domestic bank-to-bank transfers and P2P transfers for clients using RippleNet software, and the integration of MoneyTap with Yamaguchi Bank, Momiji Bank, and Kitakyushu Bank allows their customers to use MoneyTap applications for peer-to-peer remittances. In addition to the bank account number, the remittance service also enables remittances through a mobile phone number, making it extremely easier for customers to send and receive payments. And guys, the application features online identity verification and biometric authentication, which enhances security for customers. Now look guys, I'm not a massive fan of Ripple, but I must admit that the software that they offer is absolutely world class, and the adoption of MoneyTap by these 3 regional banks in Japan is significant as it expands the reach of payment applications to more customers. It also underscores the growing interest in blockchain-based payment solutions in Japan, where the government has been supportive of initiatives aimed at promoting cashless transactions. Now, with the continued growth of MoneyTap, you can definitely expect more Japanese banks to adopt the services in the next coming months. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see as and when news surrounding central bank digital currency kicks in. I really am not sure where would MoneyTap fit in once CBDC goes mainstream. Now guys, let's discuss some news regarding SEC and the US Security and Exchange Commission. They mentioned via Twitter that they have charged crypto asset trading platform Bittrex and its co-founder and former CEO William Shihara for operating an unregistered national security exchange, broker, and clearing agency. And apart from that, Bittrex Global has also been charged for failing to register as a national security exchange. Now, if you read through the official filings, it does actually state that the SEC's complaint alleges that Bittrex and its former CEO William Shihara operated an unregistered national security exchange broker and clearing agency since at least 2014, and guys, the SEC claims that Bittrex earned at least $1.3 billion in revenue from investors, including US investors, while servicing them as a broker, exchange and clearing house, and clearing agency without registering any of these activities with the Commission. And Bittrex Global, a foreign affiliate of Bittrex, is also being charged for failing to register as a national securities exchange. And guys, the complaint also further alleges that Bittrex and Shihara coordinated with issuers to delete problematic statements before making assets viable on their platform, and this was done in an effort to avoid regulatory scrutiny. For example, guys, they instructed issuer applications to delete statements related to price predictions, expectations of profit, and other investment-related schemes. This is an absolutely big no, and the SEC's investigation was conducted by Crypto Assets and Cyber Unit and Market Abuse Unit, and it was supervised by Mark R. Sylvester, Jorge Tenrio, and David Hirsch of Crypto Asset and Cybersecurity. And the SEC's litigation is conducted by Christopher Carney, Ben Kurwala, Ms. Waxman, and Ms. Sony, and supervised by Leighton Stewart and Olivia Clory. And guys, the charges against Bittrex and its former CEO highlight the SEC's continued efforts to enforce security laws in the cryptocurrency space, and the SEC has previously taken enforcement action against other crypto companies for unregistered security offerings, and these charges against Bittrex, guys, indicate that the SEC is continuing to scrutinize the industry very closely. And Gurpreet Grewal, who's the director of SEC's Division of Enforcement, said that we allege that Bittrex repeatedly chose profits over investor protection. And look, guys, this case is completely black and white. I really am not sure this is going to be settled out of court. Now, guys, let's discuss two news regarding Dubai, UAE, and Middle East. And the first news, guys, is about Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, and it is the first Islamic bank to go live on UAE's KYC blockchain platform. So let me try to give us some information. Now, as you know, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, or ADIB Bank, is an Islamic bank based in Abu Dhabi City, and the platform is a national ecosystem for the exchange of verified KYC data between licensing authorities and financial institutions. All authenticated and validated KYC data of firms will be shared simultaneously with financial institutions of their preference, and KYC blockchain platform is expected to accelerate the opening of bank accounts for newly registered companies. Now, so far as time is concerned, guys, this thing will be solved in just a matter of seconds, maximum 2 minutes, and the platform will pave the way for less cumbersome and costly process of managing KYC data for firms already registered with the system. Look, guys, based on this information, it looks more like a software as opposed to blockchain technology. But let's try to see how this news develops. Now, Swedish fintech company called Norblock is the technology provider which enables the ecosystem through its FIDES blockchain platform. And guys, the KYC blockchain platform has been live for 3 years now, and the platform will provide a significant better KYC experience for both financial institutions and the clients across the UAE. One thing to remember, guys, it is only across the UAE and not across the world. And one of the definitions of open blockchain is that there should be no geographical restrictions. Now, acting global head of retail banking at ADIB, Sami Awadhala, said the bank joined the consortium with a clear goal of developing onboarding operations and providing more secure ways of handling and exchanging data. And the CEO of Business License Corporations, Ahmad Khalifa Al-Falazi, said the platform aims to improve the ease of doing business and ensure regulatory compliance in the UAE. Now, once again, guys, based on what I'm reading, it looks more as a software as opposed to blockchain. And you need to understand, blockchain is a breakthrough technology that has tremendous potential in streamlining services and operations, saving time, money, and resources for everyone involved, that is, individuals, companies, and government bodies. And the expansion of the platform to include key banking institutions such as ADIB further strengthens the network. And once again, guys, there is a team that makes sure that someone is approved or not. Once again, goes against the ethos of open blockchain, but nonetheless, the platform will enhance the overall KYC experience for financial institutions and the clients in the UAE. So it is definitely restricted to a specific region, and there is a centralized person or a centralized entity making the decision. But nonetheless, guys, the platform is expected to make the process of managing KYC data more efficient, cost-effective, and secure for all parties involved. Now, clearly, guys, once again, it does look more like a software as opposed to open blockchain. Now, going back to the news, guys, which was published in Xavier.com, the initiative was launched in February 2020 by Dubai's Department of Economy and Tourism, also called as DET, with a partnership of 4 founding banking members. And the founding members were Emirates NBD, Commercial Bank of Dubai, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, and HSBC. And guys, over a period of time, KYC blockchain platform has expanded after the joining of DIFC, that is Dubai International Finance Center, Ras Al Khaimah Free Trade Zone, also called as RAK-EZ, Ras Al Khaimah International Corporate Center, and the listed Mashreq Bank and Vio Bank. Now listen, guys, the platform uses advanced blockchain-powered distributed technologies to facilitate a faster, more secure onboarding process and exchange of digital customer data and documents. I 100% disagree. Now guys, listen, you need to understand why was Bitcoin created. The definition of Bitcoin is it is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So Bitcoin was created so that transactions happen peer-to-peer. In case of this news, unfortunately, there is a consortium who makes the decision. The most important, which a lot of guys from the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Web 3.0 do not understand, what problem did Bitcoin solve? Bitcoin solved the double spend problem, and one of the dangers of having a centralized entity is the double spend problem, which means the centralized entity can go ahead and manipulate data. Now, the third point that I'd like to mention is all the things that is mentioned in this news could be done much better so far as cost is concerned, so far as quality is concerned, and so far as time is concerned, or software would have been a much better option rather than using a centralized automation blockchain. And guys, the fact that they are restricted only to a selected region means that it can be done by a software, and you absolutely don't need any blockchain protocols for that. But nonetheless, these are my thoughts on that. Now guys, let's discuss second news, and this is to do with Metaverse, and the news is Landwall has teamed up with Super League for Metaverse Gaming. So let me try to give us some bits and pieces of information. The website for Landvault is landvault.io, and on the website it says that they have end-to-end Metaverse builders, 120 full-time builders, and 200 completed builds, and they have been developing Web3 since 2017. And as of now, based on the website, it says that there are 100 million square feet developed, and nobody can scale your Metaverse faster than they do, and they claim to be the largest Metaverse builder in the world. And if you go to the website, guys, they have some real heavy-duty partnership. The Landvault, which is a construction company in the Metaverse, has partnered with Super League for Metaverse gaming platforms in the Middle East, and the partnership will serve businesses throughout the Gulf Cooperation region, that is the GCC, including Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And together, guys, they will help bring consumer brands, international sport franchises, entertainment giants, and government agencies to the Metaverse, and the combined experience in Web 2 and Web 3.0 provides the solutions for the creation, distribution, marketing, and monetization of Metaverse initiatives. So definitely brilliant move, and Super League has appointed Landvault as the official builder for Web3 platforms in the GCC region, and Landvault's local presence enables Super League's partners to work closely with the development team directly. And Landvault, guys, has experience in over 200 Metaverse projects for the world's largest brands. And I did go through the website, and I was really surprised that they've actively been working with some of the real high-tech companies, and the company expanded to Dubai earlier in 2023 and is heavily investing in the GCC region. And Landvault, guys, is building infrastructure to power its ambitious projects, including an AI-enabled creation tool, Matera protocol, and insights and monetization tools. And Super League serves as Landvault's paid marketing partner in the GCC region, and Super League has a partnership with a coalition of key Abu Dhabi entities to take ES Island in the Metaverse. So this news in the next coming years will be absolutely massive, and Super League has designed and launched programs for dozens of brands, including Samsung, Mattel, Nickelodeon, MTV, Universal Pictures, Sony Pictures, Chevrolet, and quite a lot more. And Landvault, guys, has raised funding from the Sandbox, the Gemini Frontier Fund, Hodlco, and Kingsway Capital in March. And Super League President and Chief Commercial Officer Matt Edelman called Landvault a highly talented, specialized Metaverse builder. And Landvault CEO Samuel Huber said they marry the best of both worlds, that is Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, to offer strong offerings to brands. Now, one thing, guys, I have mentioned it so many times in my Metaverse Everything podcast, just switching existing systems into the Metaverse will not cut it. The experience has to be 10 times better. It's only then that users will want to use the Metaverse. Now, going back to the news, Super League's partners can leverage Landvault's proven ability to acquire targeted audience and build engaged communities and support return on investment driven objectives. And Landvault has more than 120 people working for them. And guys, a partnership aims to bring the Metaverse to the GCC region and offer a unique value proposition to businesses in the area. I do think that this might be promising, but you need to give it a much longer time horizon. I'm looking at least 3 to 5 years from now. But nonetheless, these were the news, guys, from Crypto and Coffee Update from Blockchain DXP from the 18th of April. And in case you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxp.com, and also check out my website www.blockchaindxp.com, and also check out my website guysarea2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now, for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by D who asks, what would happen if they decide to increase the US debt ceiling? Now D, to be honest, I really am not sure. Firstly, how is it that they will do that? Is there some kind of legislation that needs to be placed? Or can the US government just go ahead and say that, we are going to go ahead and increase the debt ceiling? Because I very specifically remember, before President Trump taking over, the US debt ceiling was at $20 trillion, and at that point of time it was supposed to be ridiculously high, and because of the excessive money printing by left-leaning administration, right now it is on the verge of crossing the $31 trillion mark. Now really I'm not sure how they're going to do that in the first place, and can they actually go ahead and do it? I'm really not sure if there are certain international regulations which will kick in. Unfortunately, once that thing happens, what it does mean is that the next generation is going to be in some terrible, terrible financial situation. But what does it mean for Bitcoin? Unfortunately, and unfortunately for Balaji Srinivasan, it does mean that there is no chance of Hyperbitcoinization, and the value of the US dollar will still continue. And one thing which I did mention in my episode last week is, in times such as this, the only solution in order to maintain the value of the US dollar, unfortunately, is the three-letter word which I absolutely hate to say, but that is war. And if there is geopolitical chaos going on in other parts of the country, which means that the US dollar does actually get stronger, but that is a completely different topic altogether. But going back to your question, what would happen if they decide to increase the US debt ceiling? Unfortunately, it just means that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will actually go down. Now, really, I'm not sure what interest rate Jerome Powell is going to be announcing, because you also need to keep in mind that the banking industry is in a dire situation, and Janet Yellen did actually state that in the next coming months, because of the banking crisis, Jerome Powell will not be announcing an increase in the interest rate hike. So you need to take a lot of these things into consideration. Apart from that, you also need to take into consideration the geopolitical chaos that is going on, and unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if the banking industry collapses, and all we require is one teeny tiny news that will blow up the entire US economy. That would unfortunately have absolutely dire catastrophic impact on the financial world, and I'm really curious to see what happens to the price of Bitcoin. But to answer your question, if they do actually raise the US debt ceiling, I do feel that the price of Bitcoin will go down, the price of Ethereum will also go down, which just means that the US dollar is definitely here to stay at least for the next couple of decades. And to be honest, I really am not sure if they were to actually raise the US debt ceiling, what kind of an impact it will have on the price of Bitcoin in the next halving. Because you need to understand, people who are accumulating Bitcoin, they're just taking into consideration the next decade maybe or so on the price of Bitcoin. They don't want to keep Bitcoin probably 30 to 40 years from now. I'm sure some of them do, but the majority of the chunk, they definitely want to make a lot of money. They want to go out and buy Lambos. They want to buy expensive cars and watches. Now, keeping all these things in mind, I do feel if they do raise the US debt ceiling, unfortunately, the price of Bitcoin will actually go down. But these are my thoughts. So that's all today, guys. And the Ask Me Anything series from Blockchain DXB. In case you have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And also check out my website, www.blockchaindxb.com. And also check out my website, area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes of the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse, and what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.